Hello guys, welcome to the channel, Talking with J Spirit. I'm your host Jake, and your video on the channel today. Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. This is going to be the John Wick trilogy ranking video. I'm going to go through and give it from the worst to the best of this franchise, in my opinion. I want you to leave your comments down below. Of course, let me know which is your best, your worst, your good, your bad points, your ratings, and let's just get into a friendly discussion down below when it comes to John Wick. And guys, if you haven't yet checked out the reviews for these movies, I've got a playlist which I've linked in the description for the journey to John Wick Chapter 3. You can go ahead and check out that link, as well as there's a card above my head you can click on, and an annotation at the end of the video. It'll take you straight to that playlist. You get to see the reviews for John Wick 1, 2 and 3. And yeah, you're just not going to want to miss the content which I've got on the channel, as well as coming up. We've got the journey to X-Men Dark Phoenix, a new X-Men movie coming out. So stay tuned for that, guys. You're not going to want to miss that. And simply, if you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the bell. As I said, you don't want to miss the content we've got coming up. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into this video. One thing I want to mention, this is just my personal list, so you could disagree with me, that's the whole fun of it. Let's just have a fun, friendly conversation in the comment section. But guys, this is not about the ratings which I give the movies in my reviews. I did that with my Marvel Cinematic Universe reviews, where I went through the whole Marvel Universe and reviewed all the movies, and then I sort of went from rating to rating and sort of chopped and changed of certain aspects of it. But this is going to be differently. I'm going to look at this as a movie, as a whole perspective of what each movie delivered and what it did to its audience, what it did as a movie in general, what it added, what it changed and stuff like that. I'm going to look at everything in detail. And this is my list, basically. So, coming to number 3, it is John Wick Chapter 2. Now, my main issue with this movie was that John Wick as a character, we didn't really get the emotional side which we got from the first movie. Now, I rate this movie an 8.2, totally awesome movie, which is totally deserved, of course, because let's be honest, most of these John Wick movies are totally awesome, let's be real. Now, this movie's still done great. It developed in a lot of other aspects when it comes to locations, when it comes to editing, the camera work, everything. It took a big upstep in the whole technical aspect from the first movie. But what it lacked was that emotional thing that really drawed us in, like the first movie did. Now, the first movie got us on an emotional aspect because it was such a simple storyline. It's sort of like the Taken trilogy. If you look at Liam Neeson's Taken trilogy, the first movie will always be the most memorable and the best one out of the lot because it grabbed you. The rest of them are still good, but nowhere near as good as the first one. Now, the first movie set up its emotional aspect, and it really drew a lot of the audience in with that cool martial arts, shoot 'em ups, action-packed movie, which done so well. And this done that, but lacked the emotional aspect side of things. That's what really let me down in this movie. We still get to see little things when it comes to Keanu Reeves, Mr. Wick, looking at things like photographs and stuff, but we really don't feel anything. It just feels like he is pretty much just there, and there's not a big enough reason really for him to be doing what he's doing. Whereas the first movie, there was consequences. His wife got taken away from him. The dog got killed. There was things and reasons why he came back as John Wick and the Boogeyman, and just completely destroyed everybody. We got a bigger cast compared to the first movie. They added some really good additions, some new faces, freshness. The storyline was different. You just got so much in this, and I really liked the fact with this movie, the main thing I loved about John Wick Chapter 2 was they experimented more when it comes to the story of the underground, the whole gangsters, the whole assassins type thing. You really get to feel and understand a lot more throughout this movie when it comes to that stuff. Coming in number 2, guys, it is John Wick 1, the first movie. I'm definitely putting this at second place. Now, I rated this a 7.8, totally awesome. Now, the main reasons for this was because the final fights in this movie could be questionable. I didn't really like the whole final fight in the car and stuff like that. I think they could have done a lot better when it comes to that. As well as I would like to have seen Marcus, played by Willem Dafoe from the first movie. I would have loved to have seen him a lot more in the movie. I really got attached to the character, really found him really cool, and I absolutely adore Willem Dafoe as an actor. I just think he's outstanding, one of the best out there, very underrated. Yeah, this movie was just that little bit better for me when looking at it as an overall, because what it did to start this franchise deserves the credit. It's sort of like Iron Man when it comes to the MCU. This created a character which we all were connected with, loved, because of the emotional stakes, because of who he was, what he did, how he did it. He just really, really drew us in as a fan base. and rightfully so. Keanu Reeves as an actor is outstanding as well, and in this movie this was just a stepping stone of where we got to now when it comes to the new movie, and maybe on further on in the future. So as a human being, you can understand why he's grieving and what he's feeling. He give up that life which we find out throughout this movie to be this good guy and to love his wife and just enjoy life. He retired, and now we see why he becomes John Wick, the boogeyman again, and it creates a whole great story in one movie that really sets up this franchise, and that's why it's definitely got to be up there with the best of the movies, and probably, if I'm honest, this is probably one of the best action movies of all time. Really it is, because it sets up something so perfectly, and I really love this movie for what it does and everything more. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. Now this is the longest movie out of the trilogy, rightfully so, because the amount of stuff they put into this movie. Now it bring back the emotion which I'd missed in John Wick Chapter 2, which I was give good credit to. This still had a big cast just like number 2 did, which I think's really good, because the bigger cast you have, the more better performances you get from the actors. The action sequences stepped it up, the martial arts, just a wow. The martial arts, I still remembering the scenes on my mind right now. I can see what they did to finish this trilogy. They had to go out with a bang, and they certainly did that. Now the storyline as well, in my opinion, is excellent, because it done everything it needed to. It linked with number 1, number 2, and you need to see them other movies to understand this movie. And I just think that the characters, there's so much character depth as well with the storyline. It just makes a great combo, and I think a lot of the credit in this film goes to the cast. It really does, because the performances is what makes this a whole new level compared to what we've seen. Now, to you guys, it may not be the best movie out of the trilogy. You may generally believe number 1 is, because I've seen a lot of people really love that movie compared to this movie and the second movie. But Keanu Reeves as an actor in this movie really took the movie to a whole new level, and the character as well is really developing very well. He's not just an assassin anymore. He's got so many stakes, so many things that's happened to him with certain characters, and it's just really gone into detail, and I really like him as a character. Ian McShane's character as Winston, obviously we know in this movie as well, has a couple of changes, and he's just such a cool, calm character. He's so lovable, and throughout the trilogy he's definitely up there with one of the best. Halle Berry in this movie come in with quite a small role, which let me down in this movie. I really want to see a lot more. Sort of like in the first movie, I want to see Winston played by Willem Dafoe. I want to see Halle Berry in this as Sophia a bit more, because she was in it probably less than Willem Dafoe was in the first movie, and it's quite sad because I got really attached to her emotionally. She got an emotional story, as well as the action-packed side with the dogs and everything, which you see in the trailer. It's just so cool. She's so badass, and I really enjoyed her as a character. Bad point for me when it comes to this movie is the adjudicator played by Kate Dillon. I mentioned this in my review. I just don't find her convincing enough as a villain. It doesn't mean she was terrible, she was the worst villain I've ever seen, because I've seen a lot worse, but it just feels very safe as a villain, and for the end of the trilogy I expected a big villain, and she was supposed to be the main one that's sorting things out, and it just felt lackluster. Now this rating, I gave it an 8.8, totally awesome, obviously the highest rated one out of all of them, rightfully so in my opinion. I absolutely love this movie. I think compared to the first movie, let's look at the two, comparing the two. The first movie opened up a franchise which absolutely people fall in love with Mr. Wick, which has done a great job, of course, setting it up. But this movie, I think, just edges it, because this is not just supposed to finished a trilogy. It's not technically finished as a franchise. It's finished a trilogy. But it's opened, I think, a lot more people's eyes around the world and got more people interested in the John Wick trilogy because of the names they put into this film. And I think they've done a lot more when it comes to the action, the choreography, the locations in this movie. There was a couple of iconic scenes in there you could definitely pick out and remember, just like the first movie did. Guys, that has been my ranking video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I've gone through and tried to add as much detail as I can for my 1, 2 and 3 of John Wick, gone through the whole series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, if you simply did, smash that thumbs up, comment your ratings, your thoughts and your rankings down below of the John Wick trilogy. And don't forget to stay tuned for the X-Men franchise. We're going to be going through all them, the journey to X-Men Dark Phoenix. I'm super excited to go through these X-Men movies. A big Marvel fan here. Hopefully you guys are too. And stay tuned for a lot of other stuff. There's not just going to be X-Men, there's going to be other movie reviews, reactions and other ranking videos as well. So just stay tuned guys, there's a bunch of stuff coming, there's a bunch of stuff on the channel already. Subscribe, hit the bell, you ain't going to want to miss a thing. So without further ado guys, I've been me, you've been you, and I'll see you next time on Talking with Jay Springett.